Welcome back to Gambler Spec. Today I wanted to post a little update video on the DIY rooftop tent that I made a couple years ago. Show you some of the things that I've learned since that point and kind of the current status of what's going on with it. So the first thing you'll notice is that it's no longer attached to the taser. I actually found that it was kind of difficult when you get to the campsite and when we got to the gambler events, because once you set up the tent you're kind of stuck, so we couldn't go anywhere. So what I did was take the same mount here. You can see here's the mount still on it for when it hooked onto the roll cage. Yep, right there. So still got those mounts on it, but I added just some really easy weld-on mounts here onto a piece of angle. This is all just using some of the scrap free stuff that I had just laying around. So that allowed me to put it now in the back of the truck. And then we added this kayak mount for the top. So when you get to the campsite, unload the kayaks, come in, these rails all slide out so you can take the rack off and then get into the tent. The tent that I used before was the cheapy Amazon tent. I think it cost me like 36 bucks. The problem that I ended up having with it was the only ventilation that it had was just the doorway. There was no additional windows, and so it got really hot in the heat of the summer. And then the other problem that I had at the last camp out was it rained pretty hard and that tent was not waterproof, so it leaked quite a bit through the zipper. And so I decided to go ahead and change that out. And I'll show you the tent that I switched over to here. Let me just take off this kayak rack, and then I'll unfold the tent and show you the new tent that I got. All right, so here's what I found. The platform on this is 5 foot by 8 foot, and you would think that there'd be lots of choices, or at least a few choices. The problem is almost all 5 by 8 tents have a door on the long end, and I needed one here on the short end. So this is the Kelty. It's the Grand Mesa 2 model, and as you can see, it's got lots and lots of ventilation, which is going to be great for the summer. The only complaint that I have is that for some reason they decided that they were going to make it a full 5 foot wide on the far end, but then for some reason they lopped off like 10 inches to a foot at this end. And that actually made me consider going back to look for a different one, but there just isn't anything that has a door on this end and these same dimensions that's anywhere close to this as far as budget wise. So I did have to come back and trim my pad just at the ends to get it to fit. I stay in here by myself most of the time, so it's not a huge deal, and if it ends up being a big deal, I could always change that out later. But as far as budget goes, my big selling point on my last one was that I was able to do the whole thing for under 200 bucks. So if we break this down now, the tent I got on sale, that was about $107. The platform itself, 30 bucks for the roof on the van. All the scrap metal was free. $99 for the queen size pad that I have inside. And that's pretty much it. I don't use the mounts. These mounts that cost me, I think these were like 70 bucks to mount it onto the taser. Don't have to use those for this setup, so really I'm back to being about a $200 tent. The nice part about this one is the fact that it has that nice ventilation, as well as it does come with a full rain fly, so it'll actually be waterproof, where the other one was just water resistant. So that's going to make it a lot nicer for camping in all seasons. It can handle the moisture, it can handle the heat a little bit better. So pretty happy about that. Also, having it on the truck is just a lot nicer than having it on the taser, being able to have the AC to get wherever you're going to go, plus there's no storage space on the taser. So being able to use the bed of the truck as well as the cab, I can get a lot more gear in there. And then you can see the kayak rack comes off, which is pretty nice. It's annoying to take it off, but once it's off, it's nice that you can still store your stuff here. And then as soon as you're done camping, that all folds back up, put the rack back on, put the kayaks back on, and you're ready to go. So 200 bucks for a rooftop tent, it's kind of hard to beat. I've definitely got my money's worth so far, and I definitely will be using it in the future. It's so convenient, so nice to have. The kayak racks is a new addition. I think I'm in that a total of 65 bucks for the whole thing. I was able to use scrap metal to build the rack, and then just ordered the little mounts for the kayaks off Amazon. So keeping it cheap makes it nice, because then you have more money to do other stuff, and nice to be able to get out and do things without spending a ton of money. But this is the update on the rooftop tent. Appreciate you watching.